Happy New Year. How are those New Year's resolutions working out for you so far? Welcome back to Say Yes to You. This is my channel where I will be talking about things related to personal development and spirituality, as well as offering some tips and tricks that you can start to use to help you begin to say yes to you and enjoy some transformation in your life. This is the first in a six-part series on how you can say yes to you throughout the year and just take better care of yourself. So this is going to be a video that's focused on saying yes to you after the holidays and with this new year. My question for you, how are things going with your New Year's resolutions? For a lot of people, by the time February rolls around, those resolutions are out the window. At the time of this publishing, it should be about February the 1st. A lot of people have already stopped going to the gym. A lot of people have so-called fallen off the wagon when it comes to their vegetarian journey or their vegan journey. A lot of people are back to, the gossiping. There's so much, hot, sweet tea out there for us to enjoy. But the gossip does have a way of making you feel worse for having participated in it. There are some people who may have started off strong, but maybe the waistband on your pants are a little tight at this point. I say that to say New Year's resolutions, we have the best of intentions at the start of the year. For me, myself, I find that time of year to be very just so full of potential. I'm so optimistic at the start of the year. And I have to say, I'm still kind of riding high on those feelings. But because we have these habits that we're participating in, if you don't change yourself, what's likely to happen is you'll just have those same results. So I'm going to look down at my notes here. And the reason I made notes is so that I can flow through this because I say yes to myself by not really worrying about the editing of these videos. So I'm just going to flow through and be as natural as possible and hope that this message reaches the right people who are not focused with the glitz and glam, but more so want to hold on to the message that I'm offering today. So when it comes to the resolutions, what we can ask ourselves is why? Why do I want to lose weight? Why do I want to get into better shape? Why do I want to save more money, for example? What's your why in all of this? The why is really going to be that motivator to help propel you forward. And thinking about the why, I would say, well, think about, is the motivation internal or is it external? If it's internal, you have a better shot. But more than likely, for many of us out here, the motivator is something external. And by external, I mean you're comparing yourself to someone else's situation. We're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or in this 21st century, keeping up with the Kardashians. When you are comparing yourself to other people and their situations, you're not going to come out ahead. It's really hard to compare yourself and feel that you're doing better than the next person. Truth be told, even when you compare yourself and you feel like you're doing better than the next person, there's always someone who's bigger, stronger, faster, richer, prettier, more charming. So that's really not a stick to measure by, because you're gonna fall short. No one is enjoying that perfection that people try to strive for. And also, you're here to run your own race. The comparison to make you feel better or worse, I would argue, is pointless. So that's the external. The internal is you're coming from a place of contentment with yourself and your situation. And you understand that we're here for the human experience. We're here to enjoy the things perceived by our senses. We're here to enjoy different experiences. If that's your motivation, where you're actually happy with where you are, but you just want more of that good thing that you already have, you're onto something. But if you're in the former group where you're comparing and you want to somehow be better, you want to somehow be more, I would argue that you're coming from a place of not enoughness. You feel that you are not enough. You feel that you're not good enough. Um, so here's the tip that I'm going to offer to address that. It is a process called I have value. So when you are looking at the outside world and allowing that comparison to steal your joy, that comparison is talking about, or the comparison is letting you know that you don't feel like you measure up. So you're not enough. You don't have value when it comes to your looks as a man or a woman. You don't have value with your earning potential. You don't have value because your bank account is not what you want it to be. You don't have value because the car that you're driving is not up to par somehow. So, what I'm going to offer you in this process is a way to connect to that feeling of value. And some people might say, I don't know what that's like. I don't know. There's no way for me to connect with that feeling because I've never experienced it. Okay, fine. I'm going to ask you to use your imagination and settle yourself. Maybe close your eyes and just see, even if it's a tiny dot, see if you can connect with this feeling of being of value. If for some reason it's not working for you, use that same imagination and think about a person who you believe does value themselves, does hold themselves in a high regard. That might be someone you see on television, which might be an illusion anyway. It might be someone at work, someone in your neighborhood, someone in your family. But just try to think of a person who you feel truly values themselves. Even in a comparison, they're not comparing themselves and making themselves wrong somehow. But think of someone who you think holds themselves in that regard and imagine what must that person feel like? How does that person feel about themselves? And take that in. Use your imagination to connect with that feeling of value. And because we live in this holotropic universe, you have access to those feelings. You have access to actually the feelings that have ever been felt, any feeling that's ever been felt by any other human being in this world. Because we're all connected energetically, you can tap into those feelings. So you imagine that person and bring in that feeling of value. And as you're thinking of that feeling and experiencing that feeling, you're going to say to yourself, I have value. I have value. I am a valuable person. I am worthwhile. I have value. And it might feel like you're pretending initially. That's okay. The more you do it, the more you'll be able to really connect with that feeling. And what you'll find when you really begin to embody that value, embody that self-worth, you're going to find that your habits change, your belief system changes. They say your tastes change, and your taste will change. Some things are simply not going to be palatable to you anymore. The gossip, you don't want to hear it anymore. Maybe instead of reaching for that second cup of coffee, the one cup is sufficient. Maybe instead of spending frivolously, you'll think twice at first. But just give it a shot and see what it does for you. And I'm going to ask you to go ahead and comment down below. Come back to this video when you notice that first little change because, they say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. So when you notice that one thing, you may or may not remember this little YouTube video. If you do, though, come back to the channel and give a comment. For everyone else, if you liked this information, you find it to be practical, useful, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. All right, that was one take. Okay, see you next time. Bye-bye.